Hello fellow humans and welcome to another episode of your replays, this time with two Tankster replays. Now, how do you submit your own replays? Join my Discord server, link to that is in the description, and put your replays in the replays channel there, then you can get featured on his channel as well. And while you're down there, also check out my merch shop. Anyway, the ISU-152 is a tank that can be pretty powerful. I mean, the BL-10 is an absolute monster of a gun, as you can see right here. I mean, 286 millimeters of standard penetration is a lot. The problem with the ISU-152 is that the rest of the tank is pretty bad. I mean, it's an IS pretty much for the most part, which means it's going to be pretty slow and it doesn't have any armor, which means you have to play this thing somewhat passively and try to avoid getting shot at, obviously. You also have the limitation that this is a tank destroyer, which means you can't fully turn the turret. A tank like this obviously works best when the enemy simply just peeks straight into your face and does nothing about it, doesn't think, just peeks straight into you. And that is 2,800 damage already in not even 2 minutes by simply just having the enemy peek bad position. And that's one thing that is very important, not just for playing tank destroyers, but overall in Blitz. That is, just don't be as bad as your enemies. You don't have to be great at the game, you just have to be not as bad as everyone else. And then you'll do great. With a T-20 on the wrong side of the map, sitting out in the open, achieving absolutely nothing. And this thing has high DPM as well, which is absolutely bonkers given the penetration, the alpha damage, and the relatively solid accuracy of this vehicle. That is absolutely bonkers that it even has roughly about 3,000 DPM as well. However, it needs that, because the rest of the tank is very bad, and the Black Prince is mad, I think. Now, this is still a Soviet tank, which means it's horribly built. However, it does have a certain imaginative RNG to it, where it just miraculously bounces shots, or they just simply go into the track. Russian RNG isn't a thing, Russian bias isn't a thing, it just happens to be bias. Now, in this kind of situation, this is not where you want to be in. Like, you have a chieftain coming at you, you have a tiger coming at you. This is a bad situation, but Croissant here has teammates supporting him, and he can survive that quite easily. And now, that is only a KV-4 that is left alive. And you've got to do now is aim a bit better. That's another important thing taught to you by Master Bears himself. Aim your shots. That is obviously very important. And ouchie, if you would have used the 400 alpha damage gun, that would not have ended very well. And now you want to be a bit careful here, because you're on very high damage. You don't want to end it in a losing fashion. Undoubtedly, my KV-4 can still win. It's extremely unlikely, but everything can happen these days. This is Blitz, but it does happen, obviously. It is 6,000 damage in the ISU-152, and that's obviously an ace. So, the best way to play a vehicle like this, just have the enemy be dumb and sit in front of your gun, to be honest. That's the trick. However, if you're not a fan of that, and if you want to play a bit more aggressive, if you want to send it, then the Badger, played here by PapaBot 420, can be a good option. Now, personally, again, if it don't have a turret, I don't like it. However, there is no denying that this vehicle is pretty strong in the right hands and also in the right position. Now, if you put it in the wrong position, where you happen to get flanked by a Leopard 1, for example, that's obviously not great. So you want to always be careful and always keep your rear clear, so that front armor is pointing towards the enemy and that no one can actually attack you, because they can. And I'm not a big fan of this move here. I mean, this Leopard probably isn't the brightest of player, but if the Leopard is a good player here, then you have a problem, because he's going to be right behind you in a second, and you're going to take a lot of damage for that. So pushing like that into a medium tank is really something that you should do, unless you absolutely know that enemy player is horrible and will not circle you. Right? Because if you do, you end up dying. And again, aim your shots. You can also not aim your shots and still do incredibly well. You're good enough. However, ideally, 3 seconds of aiming is better than 13 seconds of reloading. Or in this case, 7, because it's the Badger. So, obviously this thing is, in terms of the gun, is bonkers. The mobility is not that great. The traverse is not great. However, the armor and the gun pretty damn good on this vehicle. So if you want to do well in this vehicle, all you gotta do is one thing, and that is keep the enemy in front of you and keep them within your aim circle. Now that is not as easy as it sounds. You still have to be aware of everyone where it is, which means always look at the minimap. Obviously, it's like the old aim. That's the oldest tip of all time. Look at the minimap. If you know where the enemies are, you're gonna know where can you go, where can't you go, where are the threats coming from. And there are a lot of threats right now because the team has discombobulated severely, and it is now a 2 versus 4. And this I7, he's just charging at a Badger. You don't just charge at a Badger like that. If a Badger face hugs you, you're screwed. What you want to do is you want to get either behind the Badger or far enough away from the Badger that you can shoot the lower plate. In this case, the I7 is making a complete, absolute horrible mistake by trying to charge at the Badger. Now he's reversing, but it's pretty much too late because the reverse speed is not enough. And what they're doing wrong as well, this I7, he's engaging alone. This thing has over 3,000 DPM, almost 4,000 with the right equipment. So you do not want to engage this thing 1v1, right? If you have an advantage, like a 4v2, you want to engage like that as well. And here comes the mouse from behind. Again, he's alone. The I7 should have waited for the mouse, and then both attack from 2 different sides, which means there is no way to defend yourself with both. That's how you do that. And then, again, the mouse is just pushing closer for some reason. I mean, the mouse is high enough to be able to somewhat attempt shooting down into the into the upper plate to get a penetration there. However, still, the Badger is thick enough to be able to withstand. Which means the mouse pushing is a horrible idea in that situation. Once the I7 is dead, they should have just played together and then attacked from both sides. In this situation, that is obviously wonderful for Papa here because they didn't do that. They completely screwed themselves, and that's what you want. You want to have 1v1, v1, v1. You never want to take an unfair fight. If the fight's unfair, you don't fight it. That's how that works. You get out, you find yourself a different one, or you move to a position where it is more favorable. And the same X50B, he's obviously going to run away, and the Badger is a pretty slow vehicle, so it's going to be a bit of a round trip here, so I'm going to speed this section up a bit. Which obviously is what the MX-50B should do here. Drive. And just get out and attempt to, again, attack the Badger from the rear, because there he has a chance. Unfortunately, happens to be that he ends up at the wrong spot. And now, the 50B's got a problem. His best chance here is to either disengage, run away, or charge forward. And that is exactly what he's doing. Now, he takes one shot. The Badger can turn just about fast enough. He tracks himself as well, which is... Don't do that. Don't track yourself. But he's not fast enough. And that's 7,300 damage in a Badger. Never engage this thing alone. Always attack from 2 sides. And never give a good player in the Badger a situation like this where you just completely throw. And this is how you win with the Badger.